Coming up next on the Center County Report, find out what construction on North Atherton is doing to local businesses.
Plus, big plans may be in the works for a century-old building in State College. And Penn State and Pitt battle at Beaver Stadium tomorrow for the 100th and possibly last time. We take a closer look at the in-state rivalry. The Center County Report starts now. Good afternoon, I'm Carlos Flores.
And I'm Megan Drakis. Thanks for joining us. Building in State College that's more than a century years old may soon be getting a makeover. Reporter Jenna Minnig takes a look at what might be ahead for the Fairmount building.
The State College Borough is looking at plans to update the Fairmount building downtown, and it wouldn't be the first time. The 105-year-old building that sits on South Fraser Street has a long history. It was the home of State College High School until 1955. The Delta program and other programs use it now, but the building owned by the school district might be out of commission in the coming year. In August, the Fairmount Civic District Certified Redevelopment Area was proposed to the Planning Commission. Edward LeClaire is the Director of Planning and Community Development for the borough.
Besides games for SCASD, we're not really using that open space in a way that we could use it.
Currently, the school district still owns the building and it's continuing to operate it for the coming months. In a statement, the district said, quote, "The administration hasn't discussed any plans for the building with the school board yet, so it would be premature now to weigh in on any potential redevelopment by the borough. We'll use the building for one more year for some smaller programs and then decide which direction to take." While no official plans have been established yet, the Pennsylvania Urban Redevelopment Law requires certain steps to be taken in order to declare an area to be redeveloped.
You've got a plan that has to be developed and adopted by the Planning Commission, and then a redevelopment proposal that would have to be adopted by Council and enacted by RDA.
There's no official word on how long the school district will keep the Fairmount building, but this historic local building may see some changes again in the years to come. In State College, I'm Jenna Minnig for the Center County Report.
The borough says it's working hard to prepare for when the time comes to make the decisions.
Projects, the ongoing construction on North Atherton Street in State College has caused commuters headaches for more than a year. But now local business owners are starting to see the effects of the slow traffic. Aaron Neary has more on the story.
Frustrated commuters coming in and out of the State College area notice steer clear of North Atherton Street throughout the continued construction zone. But the change in driver patterns and drop in traffic has limited access to dozens of local businesses on the roadway. The dusty conditions, lane closures, and bumpy roads have caused a dip in sales that business owners aren't sure they'll be able to recover anytime soon. According to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, the second of the 4 phases is 84% done. The purpose of the overhaul is to relocate utility, sewer, and water lines, in addition to improvements in draining, ADA ramps, traffic signals, and paving. Many of the restaurants, hotels, retail stores, and gas stations on North Atherton are beginning to feel the severity of the situation. Throughout the months of road work, some businesses haven't been able to open due to problems with underground pipes and overhead wires. The construction on North Atherton has affected the day-to-day operation of many businesses, including TGI Fridays, where manager AJ Deal has had to deal with this firsthand.
They've hit water mains unexpectedly to where our businesses had to shut down for hours. So we just couldn't even operate and have any of those sales coming in.
Some managers in the area also claim there's been very little communication between PennDOT, the public, and businesses on the timing and location of construction.
Some days they close off the road entirely, then customers can't come in at all. But most of the time it's just people don't really want to go on Atherton, really, so they just kind of go around.
The construction has been split up into phase work zones, stretching from Aaron Drive to Park Avenue. The project is slated to reach South Atherton Street in 2021. In State College, I'm Aaron Neary for the Center County Report.
The repaving of North Atherton Street is set to start next Monday, and the road will be reduced to 1 lane of traffic coming to and from State College.
Pennsylvania's Supreme Court is considering whether to outlaw the death penalty. This week, the court was asked to throw out the death penalty because of what critics call the cruel and arbitrary way it's applied to Black and poor defendants. More than half of the 400-plus death sentences handed down since the late 1970s in Pennsylvania have been overturned, and only 3 people have been executed. The court has not said when it will rule in this case.
The excessive alcohol consumption continues to be an issue at Penn State, but as Elisa Vasquez reports, the university hopes recently revised policies will help keep more students safe.
Thousands of first-year students from across the world start their Penn State journey right here at East Halls. However, with the excitement of college also comes the societal pressures to illegally consume alcohol. Penn State has created the Responsible Action Protocol to help ensure the safety of students.
The policy protects students from prosecution for alcohol-related charges when they get help for someone who's passed out or unresponsive because of too much drinking. It was recently updated to include protection from university conduct sanctions to cover the person for whom help is requested. The policy comes more than 2 years after Penn State student Tim Piazza died after a night of heavy drinking at a fraternity.
Students sometimes don't call for help if they're worried about getting in trouble for drinking underage or being in the possession of alcohol or being intoxicated. But their health and safety is more important than getting in trouble, which is why this protocol exists.
Olivia Jacobs says she's thankful for steps to protect students.
I think it's such a great thing that Penn State has here. I'd never heard of anything like that. So to kind of have in that safety net where if something bad were to happen, that I could still kind of help out my friend is a nice safety measure to have here.
Chris Carver thinks the policy will encourage more students to get help if someone is drunk.
When you're intoxicated, that's the first thought in your mind, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't want to have a fine or have anything happen beyond that night. As far as legally, so I feel people will take the legality out of it. I feel like they should be inclined to call.
In University Park, I'm Elisa Vasquez for the Center County Report.
The Responsibility Action Protocol is one part of Pennsylvania's medical amnesty law, which protects people from prosecution who have called the police because someone else's health is at risk.
Penn State is partnering with solar development company LightSource BP on a project to make big strides in reducing the university's carbon footprint. This 70 megawatt utility scale solar project will provide 25% of Penn State's purchased electricity over the next 25 years. Over 150,000 solar panels like these on campus will be installed across 3 locations in Franklin County on about 500 acres located from local landowners.
One of the main reasons we looked at doing this was to purchase electricity at a rate better than the prices we pay for it from the regular electric grid.
Penn State President Eric Barron at the groundbreaking ceremony on September 6th. The project is estimated to save Penn State at least $14 million over the contract term.
Penn State is making its mark on the climate change issue. More than 20 university researchers are part of an upcoming Climate Solutions Conference on Monday. Research to Action, the Science of Drawdown, will feature more than 70 speakers at the Penn State Hotel. The 3-day event will focus on the future of the world's climate and potential solutions to reverse existing damage. The sold-out conference will also have a live stream for people unable to attend.
And will the rain and clouds we're seeing hold out for the weekend? We'll find out in our 7-day forecast.
And we take a closer look at tomorrow's big Penn State football game, which brings 2 longtime rivals together again. Also coming up, a preview of this month's Hispanic Heritage events in our area. Stay with us.
Americans mourned this week as the nation marked the 18th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. Nearly 3,000 people died on September 11th, 2001 after 4 planes were hijacked. 2 flew into New York's Twin Towers, 1 flew into the Pentagon, and 1 crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. People gathered at a memorial ceremony in Shanksville on Wednesday to remember the passengers who fought back on Flight 93, possibly preventing it from also reaching the nation's capital.
Hispanic Heritage Month is set to begin on Sunday. While the Latinx community is celebrating across the country, Penn State will host a slew of events to pay tribute in Center County. Penn State student organizations and others are holding events open for everyone to attend. Some of the highlighted events include keynote speakers Julissa Calderon of Bus Vispero Like and Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the National Farmer Workers Association. Calderon speaks on September 21st at Heritage Hall, and Huerta is set for September 27th in Schwab Auditorium. Following Huerta's speech, on September 28th, Penn State is holding a day of service in honor of the activists. Students will participate in service projects on farms around State College.
So we'll have students contribute and then come back together and reflect on that experience of serving their community.
With such high-profile figures as Dolores Huertas taking part in these events, the goal is not only to celebrate Latino culture, but to educate the Latinx and the non-Latinx community. Director of Latino and Latina Studies, A.K. Sandoval Strauss, sees these events as a great way for the Latinx community to represent themselves as they want to be seen, rather than judged by others.
To take control of our own image is especially important. I hope the students understand that that is an important part of what we're doing here.
For more information on all the upcoming events, check out the Penn State website.
Good afternoon, I'm meteorologist Matt Yurosavik. Right now looking live outside at Beaver Stadium. We're under a cloud deck here. We could see some patchy drizzle as we head through the rest of the day, but there are showers on the way, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. But right now we're going to take a look at the temperatures as we look around the region here. 59 right now in State College, 65 over in Johnstown. If we zoom out a little bit and we take a little bit of a wider view here, we will see that the temperatures in the southwestern part of the state, 81 there in Pittsburgh, which is very warm, and that easterly breeze there coming off the water, keeping southeast PA a little bit cooler. A look at the radar though, not much happening, just some clouds here in Pennsylvania, maybe a few spotty showers up there by Erie. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see that there is a cold front down here that is hanging over Chicago right now. That will be moving our way as we head through the weekend, and that will bring us our shower chances tonight into tomorrow for the game. As we look and time this out for you right now, we're looking at that cold front moving in really late tonight. That'll start our shower chances as we head through the early morning hours tomorrow. And this, if you're heading out early to a tailgate, it may be a little wet out there. A few spotty showers even around kickoff time and thereafter. But then we do see that around 3 o'clock, that line starts to move out and it will dry out. And that will start our dry second half of our weekend. So if we look at today, we're only dealing with that spotty drizzle. It will be cloudy, but a high of 64 degrees. For tonight, we will get down into the 50s. The temperature as 56 degrees, scattered showers around. And then for the game tomorrow, we will be seeing those showers in the morning, maybe some clearing in the afternoon. You could see the sun peek out as we get up to a high of 73 degrees. Then for your 7-day forecast, that dreary start to our weekend really clears out here. And as we head on Sunday, we'll have plentiful sunshine, and that will start a beautiful next week for us. So Carlos and Megan, the game looks reasonably dry, but we still have some spotty showers.
Something to be excited for.
Yes, something to be excited for. It won't be a washout, that's for sure.
That's good. Let's hope those rain showers hold off.
Yes.
It's a big weekend in State College as thousands of fans pour into town for the Penn State Pitt football game. Tomorrow, as Zach Kaplan reports, many fans from both schools are disappointed this heated rivalry is ending, at least for now.
When Penn State and Pitt meet on the field Saturday, it will be the final meeting between the two schools for the foreseeable future. Since they renewed vows in 2016, the Keystone Classic has had its moments, from off-field pettiness to on-field dominance. The rivalry itself dates back to 1893, and both schools have had stretches of success. From 1922 to 1938, Pitt won 14 straight contests, but the Nittany Lions have dominated since 1952, with 33 wins to only 13 losses, including wins in 8 of the last 10 games. Penn State's most notable win during that time came back in 1981, when Todd Blackledge and the Lions went into Pittsburgh and upset a Dan Marino-led Panthers team 48-14. Animosity between the two schools died down as they each joined different conferences, with Pitt joining the Big East and Penn State becoming part of the Big Ten. Between both fan bases and head coaches, seems like something that won't go away anytime soon, even if the on-field rivalry does.
I think there's also aspects of this game that bring out the worst of both fan bases and populations. I don't know if that's good. I think we can have a great game without all that other stuff.
Much of the mudslinging over the past few years has come from Penn State fans, even inside Beaver Stadium. Defensive tackle Antonio Shelton was asked about the fans earlier this week.
Clear, like he did not know this dude. and he's just like trying to tell him how to play football as if we don't have a coaching staff that's doing that already.
As of now, both schools do not have a plan to resume the rivalry in the near future. In University Park, I'm Zach Kaplan for the Center County Report.
Parking passes for the game are sold out, and parking lots will open early 6:30 a.m. Now here's Dylan Huberman with more on sports.
Pitt, and James Franklin and company are thinking about tonight, as the Nittany Lions will take on Pat Narduzzi's Pittsburgh Panthers for the 100th time tomorrow. We have more on the big game. Also coming up, the Penn State women's volleyball team gets ready to host the defending national champion Stanford Cardinal tonight. More after the break. I'm Dylan Huberman with sports. The Penn State Nittany Lions have their final out-of-conference football game tomorrow against their in-state rival, the Pittsburgh Panthers. Let's take a closer look at what could be the final time these two teams collide.
A week of practice is almost over. Now it's rivalry time. Penn State and Pitt. These two teams have battled it out 99 times on the gridiron, and tomorrow's century mark tilt will decide who gets the last laugh. This is the last scheduled meeting for the foreseeable future, as no further games have been scheduled. Penn State Athletic Director Sandy Barber has turned to more formidable out-of-conference opponents, such as Auburn, West Virginia, and Virginia Tech, to strengthen PSU's schedule in an effort to get on par with the top teams in the country. Coach James Franklin says defensive end Micah Parsons is ready to climb the ranks.
It's all the little things. I think he's just going to continue to get better as the season goes on, play with more and more confidence. But he's improved dramatically, but I still think there's a lot left in the tank.
Unlike Parsons, who played in last year's affair, quarterback Sean Clifford's introduction to the storied rivalry will be his only opportunity to make his mark on it. After watching from the sidelines as Trace McSorley led a 51-6 stampede over the Panthers last year, he'll have some big shoes to fill. Mike Miranda, a Penn State offensive lineman, believes in the QB he's protecting for, as he's at Penn State largely because of Clifford.
Sean recruited me a lot. He was actually one of the first commits from another school to reach out to me while I was being recruited. He's honestly a big reason why I ended up coming here.
Franklin and company will get what likely is their final shot at Pitt in front of the Happy Valley faithful, who will be out in full force come tomorrow.
To the Panthers back in 2016, the Nittany Lions are in search of their third straight consecutive win over Pitt. Kickoff is at noon tomorrow, and you can listen to the game live on Penn State Com Radio. The Little Lions are hitting the road to face Carlisle tonight at 7, but it appears Mother Nature has met her match, as the Thundering Herd have not matched State High's Lightning on the scoreboard. In the last two meetings, the Little Lions have a combined winning margin of 95 points. State College is 3-0 so far this season, defeating Mifflin County, St. Augustine Prep, and Hollidaysburg. After handling Mechanicsburg in the season opener, Carlisle has dropped 2 straight coming into tonight's affair. Across town, Bellefonte will host Central Mountain tonight at 7 as well. After a season opening loss to Jersey Shore, the Red Raiders also lit up the scoreboard against their last 2 opponents, putting up 102 combined points against Huntington and Phillipsburg Osceola, while giving up just 10. Meanwhile, the Wildcats are still in search of their first win this season, limping to an 0-3 record to date. Penn State women's volleyball returns home this weekend, now ranked number 4 in the country and set to take on the top-ranked Stanford Cardinal. The Nittany Lions enter the contest with a clean 5-0 record and have not dropped a set yet this season. Penn State is led by sophomore middle blocker Caitlin Horde, who was honored last week as Big Ten Player of the Week following wins over Iowa State and LSU. Stanford enters the weekend coming off a win against number 3 Texas and looking to defend its national championship from last season. They also boast the 2-time Collegiate Player of the Year, Catherine Plummer, who notched 34 kills against Texas last week. Nittany Lions head coach Russ Rose knows Plummer will test the Penn State defense.
Kendall will have her hands full trying to deal with Catherine Plummer. You know, we don't have anybody that hits the ball as hard as Plummer. And that includes any of our male practice players or staff members.
Tonight's Wear White match against Stanford begins at 9 o'clock at Rec Hall. Penn State plays Oregon tomorrow night. The Nittany Lions women's soccer team fell to the undefeated Cowgirls of Oklahoma State last night, 2-1 in double overtime. The two teams faced off at Jeffrey Field for the second time in program history. The Lions dominated the field, and Ali Schlegel scored the first goal early in the first half. By halftime, the Cowgirls tied it up at 1, where it remained for the rest of regulation. After a scoreless first overtime, the Cowgirls notched the winning goal 2 minutes into the second extra period. The Nittany Lions will go on to face fourth-ranked Virginia at home this weekend on Sunday. That's all for sports. Now back to you at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Dylan. Coming up next, we'll take a look at one of downtown's signature events, a block party style event where Penn State and Center County join together and educate the community. Everybody loves a party, and this week Penn State and Center County community joined together for an annual event in downtown State College. The University Center County organization set up rows of vendors along Allen Street and hosted a recreational block party style event called Lion Bash, which stands for Living in One Neighborhood. Both students and local residents turned out to enjoy food, entertainment, games, and prizes. It was also a place for students to learn about local resources that can help meet their academic and social needs. This year's bash featured stations for music, games, engagement, and education.
We're the Junior Women's Club. We're a service organization in State College. Women in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. We do fundraising for local organizations and service and social events.
This year, about 150 vendors or organizations turned out for the event.
That's all for today's newscast. You can find more of our stories on our website, centercountyreport.com.
And you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Twitter feed, that's at Center County REP, or on our Facebook page. We also have a Center County Report Instagram. Join us for our next newscast on Tuesday. Have a good weekend.
We hope you enjoyed watching the video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you did.
For the rest of our newscasts and featured stories, click here.
And for sports, click here. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.